Today I'm going to show you our Airtable CRM that analyzes leads, scores the chance of them closing, and ultimately helps us track opportunities and creates the expected value so that we know how much is in our current pipeline. I'm going to be breaking this down step by step, and it is so involved that this is going to be broken into a two-part video, where this current video is part one. Here we're going to be covering the basic structure and the AI agents within Airtable, as well as how we record our meetings and bring all of this data into one place with thoughtful automation. So if you're interested in learning more about how AI can enable your sales team and how you can set everything on autopilot, well, you're in the right place. So stick around and let's get into it. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Gareth and this is Gap Consulting. It's my mission here to help you unlock the full potential of Airtable and the related tools in the no-code space. And in this video, we're really pulling out all the stops. As I mentioned, this is going to be a two-parter, and I'm going into a lot of detail using our actual CRM. Now, of course, I've had to change the names and some of the numbers, but we recently brought on a new sales rep inside of Gap Consulting, and I want to show how quickly we were able to get this person up to speed. I've filtered everything down to only show his information, the calls that he's taken over the last 30 days or so, and how we've been able to track up to almost $100,000 worth of value added to our pipeline just by the calls that he's been taking over that period of time. So obviously there's room to grow here, but it's really exciting to see how somebody can get onboarded into our organization, start taking these calls, and we can put together all of these SOPs and everything in one nice place. So if you find yourself thinking that maybe you could use some more automation, then you're definitely in the right place. Now, before I get into the heart of the video, I first want to invite you to join me for a free strategy call. Our team, including Zion, who you're going to meet here in the system, is available for a free 20-minute strategy call if you're struggling to fully implement Airtable and the surrounding tools. You can sign up for a free call using the links on our website or the link that I've shared here in the description of the video. But without further ado, let's hop on into my screen, and I want to start by showing you what the inside of this all looks like. So here I am, I'm impersonating Zion, the new member of our sales team. And you can see that he's got a couple of calls scheduled, for Saturday. I didn't even realize that he was taking calls on the weekend. So you can click into any one of these and you can see the person that he's speaking with, their email address, if they've already spent money with our company. You can see when the event is supposed to start, when the event was originally scheduled, and then also importantly, a lot of information that this person shared when they scheduled the call. Now, if you do take us up on the offer of a free strategy session, you're going to have these questions answered on our form. This is all done in a Fillout form, and I'll show you why exactly I use Fillout instead of Airtable when we get to that. But it allows for the person to actually schedule a call directly with someone on our team. And then this bottom section here is the outcome of the call. And this is the part where the sales rep themselves gets to make a determination. And they're ideally filling out information about how did this person find us? And then also what was the outcome of the call? And then if they want to add the organization name, any notes, and they can also drop in a projected value here. Although, frankly, this field here is kind of obsolete because of the fact that we are now using AI agents to analyze the call transcript. And in full transparency, this is where the real magic starts to come together. Now, not only is this component really helpful for the sales reps to see where things are in the inquiry, but then they can track the pipeline. They can see after they've created an opportunity what exactly is happening. So they can track the success of these different inquiries that have then become opportunities. They can go in and see what the client's goals were. And in addition to that, see the financial information around this. Now, this is all AI generated, and it's coming from these agents in our system. So the client goals are extracted from the transcript. The opportunity type, again, coming from the determination that the sales rep makes. The effort here, how many hours is it going to take if the person moves forward with our team? This is all generated based on AI, as well as the expectation to close. And the real effort here is that AI is doing a lot of this computing and filling out this information on the back end, but we can still come in and update this. So if the sales rep says this is an inaccurate amount of effort, maybe this AI agent decided this was 120 hours, but the sales rep says, frankly, this is only a 100-hour project. Well, they can come in and update that value. But all of this ties in at the pipeline value. So here the sales rep can come in, and this is looking at any open opportunities, anything that hasn't yet been closed out, either won or lost. So they can see how many opportunities there are, what the expected value of that is based on the expectation to close, the rate, and the number of hours. All of this is done right inside of the system, and the best part is, in my opinion, the sales rep can come back in this case this is automatically filtered down only for Zion, to be able to look at and see, okay, I spoke with Connie, here's the meeting recap, it was a 30-minute call, here's what we covered in there. And then, perhaps most excitingly, they can actually drill into one of these calls and watch the actual replay. So if anyone further down the process needs to understand what's happening here, they can just come in and watch that call all over again. And this is making communication within our team so much better. So let's talk about the tech stack and how we got this output to be a possibility. There are a few different tools in play here. The first important tool in the mix here is Fillout. Here's the Fillout form from start to finish. This is the cover page that goes through what exactly this is. So what are you going to get when you book a call with us? Once they move on to the next stage, we're then going to ask for some information. So basic stuff, first name, last name, email address, and what tools they're using. And in addition, helping us understand what it is they're trying to solve. What is their actual pain point and where can we add value? Now, there are some other hidden fields here, like the lead source, because oftentimes we want to track where does that lead come from. And if, let's say, Airtable's partner program recommends that lead to us, we're pre-filling this information so that when the automation runs, it's going to come into our CRM and we already know who sent that lead our way. Sometimes we don't know. Sometimes that information has to get filled out on the call. For example, if you watched a YouTube video and then went down a rabbit hole of going to our website and ultimately booking with our consultants, well, then we wouldn't necessarily know what path you took. So the sales rep is also responsible for filling out that field if it's not pre-filled for them. In the next page here, we're looking into project information. So we're trying to qualify these leads and get an understanding of exactly the type of help they might be a good fit for. So what are they really looking for here? Is it just a quick strategy session, or do they need a little bit of hourly help or maybe a custom project? And if so, what's their budget? Do they have a realistic budget that meets our services and our offers or not? And of course, we're going to have a strategy call with everybody, regardless of whether or not they're a fit for ongoing support or a project, or if they have a budget or if they don't. But it's good to know so that the sales rep can prepare on that call and make sure that they're offering realistic things to the person that they're speaking with. But here's why we use Fillout. This is the most important thing that we get, and it's a round-robin event that allows the scheduling to happen. So we can come in and list any number of participants from our team, any number of sales reps, and whoever's next up in line, assuming they have the availability that the person is looking to fill, then they're going to get that call. So you can build out and scale a proper sales team using this. And it allows people to schedule directly into your calendars according to your present availability. Now, that's a really powerful feature. We used to pay thousands of dollars a year to Calendly to get just the scheduling component, and Fillout now makes that possible. And the best part is we don't get billed for every new user that we add as somebody else who can participate here. So our bill with Fillout is that fixed amount month over month, and we can add new users without increasing our costs, which makes this a really viable solution. So that's the Fillout component. And then, as you might expect, all of that information is being brought into Airtable via automation. So of course, we have to find or create the person record that exists, label them as a client, and then bring in their email address and other components. But then we have to create the inquiry record. And this is important because we don't want to store all of this information on one simple table. The reason is somebody can have multiple inquiries with us over time, and we want to know that. So we're associating that back to the inquiry, or rather the inquiry count back to the person or the people record. This is really important because if somebody is wasting our time, let's say they're scheduling calls over and over again, really they're trying to look for like more free advice, we need to know that. Like, this person has scheduled 5 inquiry calls. Or if they're unreliable and they always cancel that call within 5 minutes of the call starting, we need to know that so that we can say, sorry, but we don't think that we're the right fit for you. We can politely excuse ourselves. So these are the types of things that we're tracking here, people as they relate to inquiries. And of course, that's all shared in that interface. This is where we're seeing the inquiry that connects to the prospective client or the person. And ultimately, we want to empower our team to make the decision about what happens next. So here it is. Let's say that the person's a no-show. We can make it so that if they're a no-show, a new button appears and we can trigger an automation to mark them as a no-show, which then sends them an email. So we have all of this fully automated. Or let's say they're a fit for custom development. Well, now again, we can create an opportunity. This empowers our sales team to take the appropriate steps and then ultimately moves it into the next part of the process. That's where we get into the pipeline. So this is where an opportunity gets created on the back end. And it looks like this in the opportunities table. Of course, that's linking to the inquiry because the inquiry record is where we triggered the creation of the opportunity. So now we have an opportunity record based on or linked to the inquiry. And the fun part is all of that information is getting added here in the meetings. So we have a meetings table as well, and this is where the next tool comes into play, and that's Fireflies AI. That's the tool that I shared with you earlier that takes this information, it records the whole call, and puts the transcript, and this is key, puts that transcript record back into Airtable in the meeting. So right here, we're able to access the transcript and actually see a breakdown of what happened on that call. And this is where Airtable's agents come into play. So we use agents now to extract the information from that transcript to make some determinations. Now that happens at the opportunities level. So first and foremost, we have to look up that transcript. So we're looking up the transcript that came from the client's initial inquiry call. Once we have that information, that's where we build the agents. And if you haven't leveraged this yet in Airtable, you're really missing out. These agents, we can set them to evaluate information in the record. In this case, we're looking at the projected value of something, as well as the number of hours that are estimated and the inquiry meeting transcript. So if we don't have all of those things filled out, this AI agent will not run, which basically means once the meeting has picked up the automation, has brought that in and created that meeting record and created the transcript, then the agent will run and it will perform this logic. So whatever we do, and really what we're asking for it to do in this particular agent is determine how likely this prospective client is to close, because we want to use this percentage along with the projected value of the project or the hourly support. And we're going to create a formula here for the expected value, which is basically saying, what's the expectation percentage out of 100 in order for this thing to close? And then what's the projected value? So if we have a $10,000 project that's 80% to close, we want to evaluate that in our pipeline as an $8,000 expected value. This way, we're able to get a realistic view of how much our different sales reps are adding to our pipeline. And in this case, as I already mentioned, we've been able to build this pipeline value. So looking at this, over the last month, Zion has already created $81,000 in expected value to close for our pipeline. And in addition to that, he's closed about $20,000 already on his own. So as you can see, the system works from start to finish, using Fillout to schedule those inquiry calls, then tying in Fireflies to bring in the meeting details, the replays, and most importantly, that meeting transcript in a PDF, and then empowering Airtable AI agents to set out and do all the calculations based on what actually happened in those meetings. This is saving massive time, All of this happens automatically, and our sales reps, including Zion, get to focus on having high touch points with our clients. So I hope you got a ton of value from this video, but we've yet to get into part 2, where we're going to dive into the accounting and finance side of it, when transactions are actually created and when we're calculating commission for our sales team. So if you want to catch that upcoming part 2, be sure to subscribe to the channel so you're alerted when it goes live and hit that notification bell. And of course, we'd appreciate a thumbs up if you got value from this one. If you have questions that we could not answer in this video, be sure to swing by our website as well, because we have a ton of resources there, including the strategy call that you can schedule, maybe with Zion. As always, I appreciate you watching, but most importantly, keep on building.